Hello, and welcome to the Wayward Skein podcast, episode 3. I've already recorded this episode once, and then I clicked the wrong button, and everything disappeared. So I'm starting all over from scratch, and I'm a little frustrated. So bear with me. Before I get into knitting, I'm going to talk about the tea I'm drinking because it's delicious. So I actually picked this up at the grocery store yesterday. We can't get a lot of flavors from this brand in Canada, but I picked up, and ignore the fact that it says Slim Life on the box. I don't care. It just tastes fantastic. So what I bought was this Yogi Caramel Apple Spice, and so good. It's kind of funny because it says it's a supplement. Like it has supplement facts on the side of the box, and literally there is nothing in here that will do anything medical. Nothing. I just got a kick out of that. So that's what I'm drinking, and it's delicious. And at this point, it's cold because I made it before I started recording my first episode. So it's several hours old now, but that's fine because I really like my tea cold. So I'm enjoying that, and it's summer. Who doesn't like iced tea? So I actually have a finished object this week, and I'm super happy because look at how cute this is. Isn't it adorable? This is the Harvest Cardigan by Tin Can Knits. It's knit out of Lorna Lace's Haymarket, which is a 100% BFL worsted weight yarn. It's so soft and squishy, though. You would never know it's BFL. It feels like merino. It's so soft. And so the colorway is Lookbook, and I love the pooling, what it did in the back. I feel like there's this little sunburst. Whoop, there. Sunburst. I'm directionally challenged, don't mind me. So it's got this gorgeous little yellow sunburst on the back, and I mean the pooling is excellent. When I saw it in the skein, I wasn't convinced, and then I balled it up and it looked a little bit better, but when I started knitting with it, I was like, oh yes, this is perfect. So I really enjoyed knitting this. It was the easiest thing to knit. It took me a while because I'm slow right now. I'm just getting back into knitting, so my arms allowed me to finish this in the time frame I wanted, so it's super cute, and it was a really, really easy knit. So easy. This is a great beginner sweater because you're not joining in the round yet. I'm being joined by the Peanut Gallery. Hello. I'm podcasting. Have a seat. I'm at Rob's house, as you can probably tell from the background, since this is where I recorded the first episode. And he left his drink in here, so he is joining me to, I guess, come and have some of his drink. So anyway, I did manage to finish a little baby sweater. And I used, for the bottom cuff and the bottom of the sleeves, oh, that's Rob. I used a 4mm needle, which is US 6. And for the rest of the sweater, I used a 5mm needle, which is US 8. He threw me off a little, sorry. Yes, you did. So that's my only finished object. I do have a work in progress, which is unfortunately by the same designer, same yarn. It's going to be a slightly monotonous podcast. So I broke into the second skein literally to knit this much of the second sleeve, 2 inches of the sleeve. That's it. That's all I needed. And yeah, you can actually see where that misshapen stitch there is where I joined. Oops. So I decided to take the rest of the ball, ta-da, and start a matching hat. So this is the Barley hat. It's in the baby size. It comes in 6 sizes, I think, 6 or 5. Baby, toddler, child, teen, and adult, I think. So depending on your head measurement, This is for a baby, so I'm making the baby size. And it'll probably fit through her first winter, so that's fine. So it's a teeny little hat. It's so cute. And it matches the sweater quite well. They're both patterns out of Tin Can Knit's Simple collection. So they're both designed to be beginner patterns, and really, if you've never knit a hat before, this would be an excellent one to start with. It's very easy, very straightforward, and they're very well written patterns, very clear. They provide a lot of diagrams for fit and for special techniques and things like that. So it's a really good way to learn new garments and new techniques and things like that. So check them out. And they're all free on Ravelry anyway. And on Tin Can Knit's site as well. So, which I believe is tincannknits.com. I'm not sure. So that's what I'm making. That's the barley hat, again, by Tin Can Knits. Again, with the Lorna's laces. Same yarn, same needles, same everything. So there's not much to say about it. I'm going to have a drink of tea. And that is currently not living in anything. It just kind of got stuffed into my purse for the trip here, because I grabbed it as I was walking out the door. I had another work in progress, which is now no longer with us. I frogged it during the last episode, so sadly there's no live frogging, but Rob's socks are no more. I got about 2.5 inches into the first leg, and I'm looking at how the yarn is spiraling and the colors and the pattern, and I'm sitting here going, Rob will not like this. He likes plain, simple, solid colors, and well, he wants to be able to wear the socks to work. He wants to be able to look professional while wearing the socks. This is understandable. It's fine. So I took it out of the bag, and I said, I want to show you your sock before I go any further with it. And I pulled it out, and it's this type of yarn tends to do this gorgeous sort of spiral effect on the sock. And he looked at it, and he didn't say anything. And I said, you're allowed to say you don't like it. And he says, would you be horribly offended if I said I didn't? I already knew he wasn't going to like it, so it wasn't even a question. I just wanted to show him why I was frogging his socks, because I knew he wasn't going to like it. So fair enough, the socks got frogged. I've got a full ball of yarn again, so we're back to the basics. Sadly, the local yarn store is not open today. And where did I put my... There we go. So the socks were living in this little bag that Sue, Crafty Knitter 7, made me. She is also the Tangled Skein CA, but this is not a Tangled Skein CA bag. She doesn't sell this style of bag. So she made me this a while ago. A viewer, I think, sent us this fabric for me. That's what I got. And I also have a little zippered pouch at home with this. So this was a bag that she made me. She wasn't particularly fond of knitting this style, so she hasn't made any for the shop. And I was also using my gorgeous little Rainbow Spirals Needle Keeper from Mandy Pinecone. I love this one. Who is the Mandy Pinecone Crafts podcast. So that was all my knitting. I will be looking through my stash. I have several solid colors that were set aside specifically for socks for Rob, so I will not have trouble finding another yarn to start his socks with next week when we get home. Because we're here until Friday. We leave first thing Saturday morning, actually before first thing Saturday morning, because it's going to be dark and really early and when we leave. So we're going to be driving up to Sault Ste. Marie for a day and a half to ride the Agawa Canyon train. And that's a full day train ride. It's 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. It goes down into the Agawa Canyon Gorge. Canyon Gorge, are those two terms mutually exclusive? These are geographic features I know nothing about. So they may be mutually exclusive. I may have just said something really stupid, like saying I'm going to go put the milk in the fridge stove. I don't know. I'm hoping I wasn't that stupid, but wait. I should have looked it up before. Anyway, so the train takes 4 or 5 hours to make its way all the way into the canyon. And then you spend about an hour, hour and a half in the provincial park, like in the canyon itself. And then you take the train back to Sault Ste. Marie. So we're very much looking forward to this. I think him a little more than me, but I will have knitting, so it's fine. I was actually going to go buy a skein of sock yarn for him today, but sadly the yarn store is closed. So we'll see. If I finish the hat before it's time to go home, I may go grab a skein of sock yarn just so that I can knit on socks while we're on the train. So that's it for knitting. I'm a little disappointed because, well, I thought I had packed enough projects for my very short, well, not short trip. I'm here for a week. But I thought I had packed enough projects, and I haven't. So I have been not having a whole heck of a lot of reading time this week. It's been a crazy week. There's been all kinds of stuff going on, and I haven't really had the time to do what I wanted to do. So I didn't get a lot of reading time. I didn't get a lot of knitting time. It's been a crazy week. But I did start the 5th and final book in the Wrinkle in Time series. So this is the last book. The last time I spoke to you guys, I was about to start A Swiftly Tilting Planet, which I thought was book 3. It turns out I reversed book 3 and book 4. Thanks to fantasticfiction.com. Thanks, guys. Because they have it in the wrong order on their website. So the first book is A Wrinkle in Time, which is what the movie is called. The second is A Wind in the Door. The third is Many Waters. And the fourth is A Swiftly Tilting Planet. Now, I devoured the first 4 books. I just blew through them. Right now, I've just started An Acceptable Time, which is the final book. I don't really have any impressions of this one yet because I haven't gotten that far in it. The entire series surrounds a family. They're the Murray family. They live in somewhere in New England, I think. It's very vague as to where they live. So I think it's somewhere in New England. I know it's American. So in the first book, A Wrinkle in Time, the whole story centers around Meg and her younger brother, Charles Wallace. Turns out that they have connections to pieces of the universe that you and I don't see, to give it a simple explanation. So if you're into fantasy, into sci-fi, any of those things, they're great books. They're very, very exciting. I really enjoyed reading them. I couldn't put them down. A Wind in the Door is the second book. I don't remember. I'd have to read the blurb again because I read 2 more since then, and it's just not fresh on my mind anymore. Swiftly Tilting Planet, which is number 4, and I read 3rd, centers around Charles Wallace and involves some time travel, so on and so forth. The fourth one is called Many Waters, and it revolves around the twins, who are the other 2 siblings between Meg, who is the oldest, and Charles Wallace, who is the youngest, and also involves some time travel and is really, really good read. So I'm really looking forward to getting further into this one. And I will let you guys know what I thought about it next week. Because I may not. It depends on how much reading time I get this week. The other book I picked up last week, because I think we could all use a little of this right now. This is the book I picked up last week. That way. Told you, directionally challenged. So this is the book I picked up. It's called The Audacity of Hope by Barack Obama. And I think we could all use a little of that right now. Don't you? That's all I'm going to say, because I haven't gotten very far into it, and it just sort of became my happy place. That's all I'm going to say about that. So that's all I've been reading. I have watched a little bit of Midsomer Murders, but not a lot. I needed a palate cleanser, given what the news has been like lately. And every episode, like, people just keep dropping like flies. I swear I never want to visit Midsomer because everybody dies there. I'm a little bit behind my two other friends who are watching the same series. One of them has leapt ahead of me because she has a little more TV watching time than I do. And I've had other priorities this week. I've had stuff that I just had to get done. So there hasn't been a lot of TV watching, but I also took a little palate cleanser. And I can't remember what it's called now. Yes, I do. It's called Champions. It's on Netflix. It's awful. Like, absolutely terrible. It's a campy, ridiculous TV show. Every character is a trope. Like you've got the smart, slightly scuzzy brother who's the main character, and his brother who's dumb as a post but really attractive and really physical, and it's a ridiculous story. But I did enjoy it. It was a nice little break. The story surrounds this guy whose ex-girlfriend comes back 15 years later to say, hey, this is your son. You knew I was pregnant. I told you I didn't want you around, but he needs to live in New York now, so he's yours. And she leaves. So it's a Mindy Kaling? I don't know how to pronounce her last name. She's the writer, producer, and stars in it as the mom. And the father runs a gym called Champions, which is where the name comes from. So he and his brother lead a very physical, active lifestyle and are jocks and, not the most intellectual of people, not the most cultured of people, which is part of the stereotype, which is why I say every character is a trope. It's not because these, people who spend a lot of time in gyms are like that, but that's the stereotype they were going for in this show. So the mom, who happens to be Indian, drops her son, who is half Indian, half white, obviously, off with his dad and disappears. So this poor kid, doesn't really fit in with the Indian kids at school, doesn't really fit in with the white kids at school, also doesn't fit in with his family because he's not a very sporty type of person. He's really into musical theater, and he happens to be very flamboyantly gay. So they're not sure what to do with him. They don't know how to relate to him. So there are some cringeworthy moments where they just say things and you're just like, no. But it was a good palate cleanser. It was one season. It was 13 episodes. They're each about 25 minutes. It went by quick. So that was about it. If another season comes out, I don't know that I would watch it, but it was a good break from the doom and gloom of Midsomer. So, and I say that, but Midsomer is a hilarious show. It's really, really funny, and I've enjoyed it a lot, and I'm looking forward to going back to it when I get home. So that's about it. That's, a little bit of TV watching time once I put Rob on a plane to come home. And so that's about it. I haven't done much else this week. I have a really big assignment to write for class, so I'm not looking forward to that, but it's my final, and once that's done, the class is over, so I can't complain too much. I did have a really fun experience this week. Part of the final project is that we had to go and job shadow an admin assistant. Now, I've worked as an admin assistant since I was 20. I'm 42 now. I've been in this business a while. And the courses are geared towards people who are looking to enter the admin assistant, like the job market. So these are people who don't have much experience and are just taking these classes to learn how you become an admin assistant and so on and so forth. I've been doing this for 22 years. It was kind of hilarious. And I think that a lot of the people I approached about job shadowing were a little intimidated at the idea of having a more experienced admin assistant shadowing them, ostensibly to find out how to do the job. So it was a little bit of a bizarre situation. But fortunately, my boss's contacts panned out, and one of her friend's admin assistants was willing to allow me to come in. And so I went there on Wednesday, and we got along great. We had a blast, and I got all the information I needed for my report. So now all I have to do is write an essay and a report, and I'm done. And the class is over. I've given myself the month of July as a break before I start my next class on August 1st. So that'll be a nice little deep breath for summer and get my house organized, which I've been doing over the last few weeks, and it's been going really well. So I'm enjoying finding my space again and getting rid of all the extra stuff because, oh my God, we have so much extra stuff. So it's been nice to be able to just sort of concentrate on that a little bit. And I'm looking forward to, once I've written this essay and gotten home and everything's submitted, then I can just concentrate on me for a few weeks and My daughter has recently started getting treatment for anxiety and depression, so we can just concentrate on us. I'm trying to change the way I'm eating as an experiment. I was watching a TED Talks video on, it was an obesity doctor, and she was saying that, we keep telling diabetics that you have to eat your carbs with protein, you have to take the medication to counteract the carbs, but if you're taking the medication, you can't get rid of the carbs because you need them to counter. It was, anyway, I recommend looking up the TED Talks video on obesity and changing your eating habits. So I'm trying to do the whole low carb thing. I'm not going no carb because that's just stupid. I'm, everything in moderation, but I'm trying to lower my carb intake because I know that of the vast majority of my diet consists of carbs, and that's bad. Your diet shouldn't be any one thing. So I'm trying to lower the carbs, up the protein and fat a little bit, because I also tend to eat super low fat, except when I get overly hungry and then just binge on junk food. So that's a cycle I'm trying to break. So I've been trying to do the low carb thing, and it's really affected my glucose numbers like really quickly. So they've gone down a little bit, and we'll see how it goes over the next week or so. I see my diabetes doctor again in a few weeks, and then we will discuss if the numbers support it, reducing the medication a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, it makes eating out very challenging. We tried to go out for lunch today, and anything I ordered was going to come with corn and mashed potatoes. And I was like, is it possible to get something other than corn? And they said, well, we have mixed vegetables. Mixed vegetables are corn, peas, lima beans, and carrots. And green beans, I think. So most of those are very high carb vegetables. And I was just like, yeah, okay, that's fine. So I had a little piece of salmon that was delicious, by the way. Absolutely fantastic salmon. And I had a pile of corn on my plate and a pile of mashed potatoes, and they brought me the mixed vegetables after I was done eating. So it was kind of funny. And I was like, yeah, this is not enough food. Because I left the corn and the mashed potatoes. It was kind of funny. So I'm going to have to think a little more strategically when I'm planning on eating out. And, but it's so far it's working, and I'll see if I can keep it up, because I noticed that when I start eating a little bit of carbs, I want more, and I want more, and I want more, and I want more. I did successfully eat I did like the Whole30 sort of thing where it's all whole foods for like a number of months, and I lost quite a bit of weight at the time. I was also going to the gym on a regular basis, and I was doing weights, and I lost about 40 pounds at that point, somewhere between 35 and 40. And, it went really well. And then I was like, okay, so the Whole30, I'm going to take a cheat day. And a cheat day turned into the next 4 years. I can't cheat. It doesn't work for me. I have to either do it or not do it. The whole cheat day thing is not a concept that works with me because I can't stop after a cheat day. So I'm trying to find substitutes for the things that I would use to cheat with, like chocolate. And I'm lucky that I've come across this lady on Facebook. Her name is Urvashi. She runs the Two Sleevers blog, and she writes cookbooks, mostly for the Instant Pot. She has an Indian cookbook for the Instant Pot, and she has a keto cookbook for the Instant Pot. And I have both of them. And she has all kinds of recipes that would be perfect for this, because it's essentially a variation of a keto lifestyle. Obviously, since I am still taking diabetic medication, a keto lifestyle would not work. But modifying it to lower my carb intake to a certain level, that seems to be helping. So we'll see how it goes, and I will report back next week on what my numbers are like. I will be recording while we're in the Sioux, because I won't be home for another 2 weekends. Well, the weekend after next. So I will record next weekend from the Sioux at some point. It'll probably be a shorty because I'm not going to get a whole heck of a lot of knitting done. But, you know, I'll pop in and say hey. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Jen, the Uncreative Crafter podcast, who is Stormcoast on Ravelry, and Sarah, who is the Canadian Knitter podcast, because they both give me a little shout out. So, hey guys. And Jen has been doing these trash walks lately. I think it's called plugging, but I don't remember exactly. It's something like that. Basically, you take a bag with you when you go on a walk and you pick up whatever trash you find. She has found so much stuff. She never does more than like about half a mile at a time. The other day, I think she found something like 400 cigarette butts. It was like... So she's been doing this, and I've sort of... Rob often gets irritated when we go for walks because I'll just pick up recycling and put it in people's bins as we're walking past. And he's like, stop using other people's garbage cans. So it's kind of funny. But I think I'm going to start trying to carry a grocery bag because, I mean, I've got piles of them that have built up at home since forever. So, you know, just having one in my purse wouldn't be a big deal. And then I can just pick garbage up and throw it out when I get home. That sort of thing. So Jen has been doing an awesome job at this, and she has inspired me to join in. So I will be trying to do that in the near future. Anyway, that's about all I had to talk about, and I've managed to waffle on for 16 minutes about non-knitting subjects. So thank you for sticking with me, and I hope you come back. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week.